Good morning. Welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is Regina Stanley, and I have the pleasure of serving as the membership coordinator with this congregation. To give you some idea of what we're all about, let me tell you about our mission. We say that here we embrace freedom, love wholeheartedly, grow in mind, body, and spirit, and add to the healing of the world. What we mean is that we celebrate the good things whenever we can. We provide opportunities to strengthen relationships. We want to both grow as individuals and to welcome more people into this community. And we want to help you in your personal dream to make the world and your life better. We advocate for human rights and for the care of this one earth. We take to heart our connection with the world. This land is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They were here long before the first European settlers came to this continent. We honor the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to take a moment to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who is visiting us for the first time. It is no small effort to look around and venture into an established community. Thank you for finding us. See the ushers and greeters for name tags and information. Stay for coffee hour after service if you're in person, or for conversation if you're online. We are happy to welcome Reverend Florence Caplow as our guest speaker today. Reverend Caplow is a UU minister who has served UU congregations in Washington State, Colorado, and more recently, Champaign-Urbana here in Illinois. She's also an ordained Zen priest and teacher, author, change coach, and activist. She wrote the 10 Practices for Frightening Times. And she's also known as Zen Shin. Is that correct? The 10 Practices for Frightening Times, she is sharing them with you as a gift today. In your order of service, you will find that. You can also learn more about her by visiting her website at cloudway.life. Please help me in giving Reverend Caplow a warm welcome. I have a few notes for this morning. Today, we have Sacred Rest at 4 o'clock. Every fourth Sunday of the month, the Central Illinois religious educators will facilitate a guided rest experience on Zoom for our 4 congregations in Bloomington Normal, Champaign-Urbana, Peoria, and Springfield. Gather a bottle of water, a journal, and a blanket if you wish, and join us on Zoom. We'll draw from the work of Tricia Hersey. Contact Jesse Laughlin or the Friday newsletter for the Zoom link. Also today, we have Mahjong in Fellowship Hall from 1 to 3. Whether you are experienced in this or have never played, they are happy to show you how to play. There is a growing group, and it's a lot of fun. I encourage you to check that out. Let's see. We also will be marching in the St. Patrick's Day Parade coming up on March 17th. So I am looking for people to walk with me. Don't make me walk by myself, please. All right. So now we are going to turn to our opening hymn, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
Good morning. It is wonderful to be with you again. I was telling some people this morning that my very first time of preaching in Central Illinois was here in this gorgeous sanctuary 8 years ago, I think this Sunday. So it's wonderful to be back. I was here a couple of years ago as well. I'm still over in Champaign-Urbana. And of course, I know you're a fantastic minister because we're part of the Central Illinois UU Ministers Cluster. So we get to check in with each other every month. And I really want to uh, thank her for her invitation to speak with you this morning. This morning, I'm going to offer a few ways from my Buddhist tradition. And you might wonder about why I'm not wearing a stole this morning. This is actually called a rakusu, and it is part of the robes of a Zen Buddhist priest. So sometimes when I'm preaching at a UU pulpit, but I'm preaching from the Buddhist tradition, I feel like, okay, I'll wear my preaching robe and my Zen Buddhist robe. So that's what this is. So I really have felt a strong desire over the last actually year and a half or so to be offering some simple spiritual practices from the Buddhist tradition to address our hearts in this incredibly difficult time. Now, I couldn't have predicted what was going to happen in November or what's happening now, but I know that we are all in need of practices that ground us and give us courage and strength for these times. So, and a little bit of grace, a little bit of rest, maybe even a little bit of humor. So we gather today, as UUs do each Sunday all across the country, seeking courage, seeking community, seeking solace, seeking grounding, and of course, always seeking inspiration. My wish is that whatever you seek this morning, may this service and the very important fellowship hour afterwards fill your spirit and give you strength.
I'd like to invite Tony and Vicky Huerta up for our chalice lighting.
I Breathe by Craig Rowland. I breathe in the warmth of this light, its glow filling the spaces where fear and doubt reside.
I breathe out the tension I carry. I release what no longer serves me.
I breathe in the strength of our community, a sanctuary of diverse voices and shared purpose.
I breathe out the urge to go it alone. I embrace the power of togetherness.
I breathe in the courage to speak truth, even when it trembles on my lips.
I breathe out the silence that holds me back. I make space for honesty and justice.
I breathe in the hope of transformation, knowing we are here to build and to heal.
I breathe out despair, trusting that change is born in the small acts of love.
As we light this chalice, may each breath remind us of the sacred rhythm of life, the pulse of creation, and the power we hold to shape the world around us.
by Angela Herrera. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs vision. Bring them with you, and your joy and your passion. Bring your loving and your courage and your conviction. Bring your need for healing and your power to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here in this room. We set aside time in this moment for reflection, for centering ourselves, this community, for all the reasons that bring us together. All are welcome to come forward and light a candle. For those who are online, let these candles be for you. Let us enter into our music for meditation. This is the time for sharing of joys and sorrows in the congregation. We send our sympathies to Amiko Yang, whose son Byron died on February 12th. Cards and messages are appreciated. We are also deeply saddened by the passing of Pat Harris this past Wednesday, February 19th. Pat was a longtime member of the church and quite the character, and will be missed. We send prayers and condolences to our family. We also want to remember BJ and Terrence Lindsay today. They are honoring the memory of their son, Owen, on the 2-year anniversary of his passing. We send you both all the love. Let us share one more moment of quiet together. Let us pause and breathe. Shalom, salam, namaste, blessed be. Now I'd like to invite Jesse Laughlin up for our Time for All Ages.
You may have noticed a bit of a theme about breathing today. And we're going to continue that with our Time for All Ages. Sometimes at this time, we do a guided meditation where I ask you to sit comfortably and let your mind bring images that match maybe what I'm saying. Sometimes we do a body scan meditation where I ask you to think about different parts of your body and how you're feeling and relating to yourself. And today, we're going to do a meditation, but we're going to sing a little, and we have some hand motions to go along. So if you're comfortable standing and you like to wiggle when you do hand motions, you might want to stand. If you want to sit and do your hand motions, that's fine too. And if you just want to watch, that's okay too. You get to decide how to participate today. First, I'm going to teach you the hand motions. Then we will kind of talk through the song. And then Kathy will play along and we'll sing it. Okay? Our first thing we're going to do with our hands is breathe in, breathe out. And we're going to breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, good job. We'll also bloom like a flower. Here's the dirt, and our flower will bloom up and open. There you go. We're going to be some dew, and the dew comes from above and settles on our hand. There we go. We'll be sturdy as a mountain. You can make a mountain for me with your hands. And we'll be like the earth as well, nice and flat. We'll be water. You can feel that movement with the water. And we will have space inside of us. And then we will be free It's sort of like breathing in, but the motion starts up here. Free. We are free. All right. So let us give it a try. And like I said, we're going to say it and then we'll sing it. Okay? Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming like a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water, reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside me. I am free. I am free. I am free. All right. Kathy, you ready to play us through it? All right. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming like a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water, reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free. I am free. I am free. Thank you so much. Sometimes using our bodies for a meditation can help us feel more in the moment. I hope this tool helps you. The kids and volunteers are invited to join me in religious education. From Reverend Victoria Weinstein. We say in our church that the offering is a sacrament of the free church. What we mean by that is that we believe it is a blessing to be able to govern and support a religious community ourselves, to make possible by our generosity everything we dream of and do to live out our shared values. Every week, we lift up the spiritual value of generosity by taking an offering for the ministries of this church. Our plate, then, as it is passed among us, becomes filled with the evidence of that generosity. It is our harvest, gathered in every week for what most nourishes us.
We also share our abundance with our local community. Each week, we set aside half of the undesignated offering for our Share the Plate recipient. Our Share the Plate recipient this month is Peoria Proud. Peoria Proud supports diversity and equity throughout the greater Peoria area. The coalition creates safe spaces for the LGBTQIA+ community by hosting the River City Pride Festival, advocating for pro-LGBTQIA+ legislation, safe zone training, and much more. They work to create safe spaces where all LGBTQIA+ people feel safe and welcomed. Peoria Proud receives no government funding. You can find out more at their website, peoriaproud.org, or look for them on Facebook. One half of February's undesignated plate offerings will go to Peoria Proud. This time I'd like to invite the ushers forward. And now I'd like to invite Jean Jost up for our reading.
Good morning. The reading this morning is by Joanna Macy, the 94-year-old Buddhist ecological philosopher and teacher, from her book, Active Hope, How to Face the Mess We're In, and that sounds familiar, doesn't it? With unexpected resilience and creative power. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by the Lone Ranger or some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling forth at this time. We've come a long way, and we are here to play our part. With active hope, we realize that there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to engage. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and in others. A readiness to discover the reasons for hope the occasions for love, a readiness to discover the size and the strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our love for life, the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk. We're now going to be standing for the hymn 109, Meditation on Breathing.
Now it's on. Sorry about that. I think someone was controlling it from the back. Okay. So among people I know, I don't know about the people you know, all of us are talking about what we are in the middle of. Or if we're not talking about it, we're feeling it. And we're talking about what to call it and what it means for us and those we love and those most vulnerable. On hiking trails, in coffee shops, on the phone with each other, we are talking about this. Maybe you are too. Maybe you are feeling dread or fear or confusion. How could this be happening? Maybe there is trauma in this sanctuary today, or as I'm hearing a lot right now, exhaustion, tiredness. Or you have stopped looking at the news, right? We are in a time of radical uncertainty and fear. For quite a while now, my own personal vow is to help in whatever way I can when the storm that seems to be on the way breaks over our heads. And frankly, this seems to be that storm. So, speaking of storms, I wanted to share some words from the late Vietnamese Buddhist monk, teacher, and peace activist who also developed that beautiful song that we sang with the children earlier, Thich Nhat Hanh. And these words have been important to me for a long time. He was a peace activist in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, and then he was in exile for a lot of his life, and a lot of his work was also around helping the Vietnamese refugees. And this is something that he wrote a long time ago. When the crowded Vietnamese refugee boats met with storms, or pirates. If everyone panicked, all would be lost. But if even one person on the boat remained calm and centered, it was enough. It showed the way for everyone to survive. I don't think this is a parable. I think he's actually describing what happened on those boats. So, here's the question. How do we live in this storm, maybe with a few pirates around us, engaged, brave, and like that person on the boat that helped everyone to survive? This is not about turning away, but about each of us building our own capacity, both for societal challenges and for the challenges in our own communities, because this storm will be everywhere. Our own lives, our own personal hurricanes. And watching you all come up, lighting candles this morning, I had tears in my eyes just knowing how much each person is carrying. Might have nothing to do with what's happening nationally, but you are each carrying a weight. So today, I want to offer some possible ways, very simple ways, that really come from both my life as a UU minister and as a Zen Buddhist teacher. And although they are informed by my Buddhist training, you do not have to be a Buddhist to engage in them. So many centuries ago, in China, a Zen student asked his teacher, "What is the fundamental teaching?" And a teacher replied, "An appropriate response." What is the appropriate response right now in these strange and scary times? I think we've all gotten tired of the word unprecedented, but you know what I mean. I can't tell you. That's the thing. It's for you to find out what is your appropriate response. But I don't think it's turning away or tuning out with the latest Netflix series, nor do I think it is drowning in fear or anger or despair. I'm pretty sure that at times like these, spiritual practices are absolutely essential so that we can engage. And just to say, you being here this morning, this is a spiritual practice to be in community. And I'll be talking about that in a moment. So, one of the things that I've learned from my various roles is I don't even believe in giving advice because honestly, who listens to advice anyway? Have you noticed that? You offer it to your friends and family. But today I'm going to break my own rule and offer some advice, which are 5 spiritual practices for tough times. You might have noticed in your order of service that I have also shared with you 5 other practices as well. But 10 practices are too many for one sermon. So we're just going to focus on a few of them. And what I suggest is that you take that home with you. You put it up somewhere and you circle the ones that really speak to you. Because even if you only practice one of these, I think it will help. I really do. Or maybe none of these speak to you and consider what is a spiritual practice for you and take that one on. The 5 spiritual practices that I want to share this morning are pausing, appreciating, not knowing, I'll say more about that, staying together, and feeling your feet, with a little bonus practice at the end. So first, and most importantly, and we have been doing this all the way through this service, find ways to pause. Every time I say that, I kind of think of little cat paws, but Pause, pause, slow down, and feed your spirit. Many of us are moving so fast and so frantically, either in an attempt to survive economically, this is true for many people, or to address the wrongs around us, if we're activist types, that spiritual practices become a kind of afterthought, or maybe even an embarrassment. The more we panic, the more it will seem like we simply don't have time for spiritual practices, whatever that is. Please don't think of them as an afterthought. Think of them, whatever they are or could be for you, as a foundation, as something as essential in these times as drinking water. Maybe some of you, and we might be feeling this all the more as the months go on, feel like you're running a marathon. Okay, I'll admit it. I have never run a marathon, but I have talked to people who run marathons. So who here has run a marathon? Do we have anybody? Oh, all right, awesome. That rest breaks are essential, right? You need to be sure to get enough water and to pace yourself. Same with mountaineering, which I have done. And when you get up at high elevations, you might not know this, but you're actually resting with each step because there's not enough oxygen and you must rest. So I'm convinced that there is someone out there, maybe a few someones out there, who are trying to get us to never rest, never stop watching TV or surfing the net or doom scrolling, so that we won't stop and think for ourselves about what's happening and how we want to respond. Sometimes those of us who are activists and socially engaged feel that we can't rest, that the problems are so dire that we need to be doing whatever we can 24/7. Oh my God, I didn't call my senator today. I've got to do it. For you and for anyone who overworks in any way, I want to offer these very provocative words from the late Trappist monk and writer Thomas Merton, written back in the 60s. There is a pervasive form of contemporary violence to which the idealist, I think we're probably mostly idealists in this space, most easily succumbs. Activism and overwork. The rush and pressure of modern life are a form, perhaps the most common form of its innate violence. To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything, is to succumb to violence. It kills the root of inner wisdom, which makes work fruitful. I remind myself of this quote frequently because I tend in these directions as both an idealist and an activist, and it's very important. So I heard that there's actually this wonderful online thing about just coming with like a blanket and resting. And this is based on the work of the Black activist and Bishop of Nap Ministry, Tricia Hersey. And this is her fundamental teaching. Consider rest a radical act. Walk in the woods. Cuddle with your loved one or your dog or your cat. Drink a cup of tea or coffee. Go on retreat. Come to church on Sunday. Take just a moment to breathe with awareness and know that you are not turning away from the troubles of the world when you do this. You are strengthening yourself for the journey and the struggle. It's said that Gandhi used to meditate for an hour every morning with his followers. But one day there was a huge political action, and his leaders came to him and said, well, we have so much to do today. I think this was the Salt March, actually. We have so much to do today. We're going to skip the meditation today, right? And he said, no, today we're going to meditate for 2 hours. I think that kind of tells us, it's not extra. And maybe you're saying to yourself, I can't meditate. That's just not my thing, and certainly not for 2 hours. I'm here to tell you that there is such a thing as homeopathic meditation. Even a moment of presence goes a long, long way. Even a breath can be a moment of Sabbath and peace. So, this is my first piece of advice. Don't worry, the rest won't be as long. But this is the most important one, I think. Find ways to slow down and be present, whatever you call it. Your adrenal glands will thank you, even if no one else does. And I have a feeling some other people in your life will thank you too. Advice number 2, appreciating. The harder and uglier things get, the more frightening, the more important this simple practice becomes. Yes, I'm telling you right now from this pulpit, you have some right to some happiness, even when things are falling apart. So I'm going to be talking about gratitude here, and I know I can almost hear the groans in the room because it's become so cliche, keep a gratitude journal. Yeah, right. But gratitude has been shown scientifically to increase baseline happiness, reduce pain and depression, lower stress, and improve sleep. If we had a drug that did all this, it would be a runaway bestseller, right? And there are 1,000 ways of practicing gratitude. You do not need to keep a gratitude journal if that's not your thing. To, as Rumi said, kneel and kiss the ground. But like most practices, it does not need to be elaborate. And 2 of the easiest practices for gratitude are savoring and awe. So savoring is to fully experience small pleasures and comforts, like your morning coffee, or how it feels to get into bed after a long day. To just let yourself have a moment to savor those things. And awe is our response to something vast or amazing, something seen, heard, or witnessed. It could be the night sky full of stars. But it can also be witnessing kindness or greatness or courage. One of my 10 suggestions is to read or watch or listen to inspiring things, and especially people doing courageous things. And there's a lot of stories out there right now of that. That is encouraging awe in yourself. Advice number 3, and this might seem very strange to a bunch of generally well-educated Unitarian Universalists, but is at the heart of Zen practice and incredibly helpful in tough times. Practice not knowing. What do I mean by that? Sounds pretty weird, huh? We are so sure we know what's going to happen. And people online and in the news seem really to know too and are very free to tell us about it 24/7. Our thoughts about the world and where it's going can literally drive us crazy. But they are just thoughts. And when we realize that no one knows, not even the greatest of pundits knows, we can act with greater inner peace. Thich Nhat Hanh used to tell his students to ask themselves always, whenever they had a thought come up, am I sure? Am I sure about that? For instance, perhaps like you, I am sometimes filled with dread about our collective future. But the reality is that I don't know the future, and no one does. And there's some wonderful books out there that inspire me, and I'll just mention a couple of them to you if you haven't heard of them. One is called The Black Swan, The Impact of the Highly Improbable. And it's about how most of the things that have ever happened in human history, and even little things like who becomes a great star in Hollywood and who doesn't, have happened not because they were predicted, but because of some little surprising thing that appeared. And so we can find books that can help us to kind of let go of that idea that we know what's going to happen and we're sure it's going to be really bad. Because this doesn't actually help us. It doesn't help us in our lives right now. So I can ask myself, am I sure? And then still act for what I believe in without being certain of the outcome. That's what that whole active hope that the reading that we heard is saying too, right? We may not have anyone come save us, but we can always act from our own deep knowing and joy. Fourth, remember to stay together. Remember that you are not alone. What brought me to UU ministry was witnessing and being a beneficiary of the tremendous care and love, even for strangers, that can be expressed in a UU congregation. What actually brought me, so although I'm actually multiple generations Unitarian, and my mother was a Unitarian, I drifted away into mostly doing Buddhist practice. But at a really difficult point in my life, I stumbled into a congregation in a new city, sad and unwell. And I was embraced almost before they knew my name. So when you're kind to a stranger that walks through your doors, you don't know where it may go. They may end up being the minister speaking to you years later, right? And come to think of it, in that moment, in that little congregation in Flagstaff, Arizona, I experienced awe as well. There is just huge power and encouragement that comes from showing up for each other. Acting for the world, standing in a picket line, or marching for justice, not alone, but together. This is one of the reasons that I say that progressive faith communities are going to matter all the more right now. Despite what the pundits say, we need each other. We can't do this alone. I want to share a poem that's been important to me since my teen years, written by the beat poet Gary Snyder in 1959. He's also one of the people who inspired me to learn more about Zen Buddhism. It's called For the Children. The rising hills, the slopes of statistics lie before us, the steep climb of everything going up, as we all go down. In the next century, or the one beyond that, they say, are valleys, pastures. We can meet there in peace if we make it. To climb these coming crests, one word to you and your children. Stay together. Learn the flowers. Go light. So, final piece of advice, number 5. Pay attention to your feet. Feel them right now underneath you there. See how they're there below you, in contact with the floor. Think about how far they've carried you through your lifetime. Feel how they're connected to the earth. We spend so much time up here in our heads. Meanwhile, there are our humble feet supporting us. To feel your feet is to feel your foundation, to quite literally ground yourself. Whether you're standing in a grocery line, having an argument with your partner, or facing a line of oncoming police at a demonstration, feeling your feet will bring you into your body and in contact with the earth, which is always there to support you and which receives us all in the end. Okay, I promised there was a little bonus at the end, and this is on a lighter note. bonus advice from the great satirist Kurt Vonnegut. His last words of advice to an audience, who knows if anybody listened, in 2007. And how should we behave during this apocalypse? We should be unusually kind to one another, certainly. But we should also stop being so serious. Jokes help a lot. And get a dog if you don't already have one. So if even one of these practices spoke to you today, or one of those 10, I invite you to bring it more fully into your life. And just to review, these are the 5 practices. Pause, appreciate, practice not knowing, stay together, feel your feet, and don't forget to laugh now and again. Thank you.
Now, please rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. Sherry, if there's another one, we can do that one. No, that's okay. You just told me. That might have been me. Here and Beyond These Walls by Craig Rowland. As we extinguish this chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain within us, guiding our steps and our hearts. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, the courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond these walls. Go in peace. with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way.
I'd like to close with these words by the meditation teacher, Jack Kornfield. You are not alone. You have generations of ancestors at your back. You have the blessings of interdependence and community. You have the great trees of the forest as your steadfast allies. You have the turning of the seasons and the renewal of life as your music. You have the vast sky of emptiness to hold all things graciously. Now it is the time to step forward, bringing your equanimity and courage, wisdom and compassion to the world.